It's time to start adding items, both services and sales. A service item is one that's not a tangible product, like a house call to fix something, a haircut, or a dog grooming. A sales item is a product. In our case, customers can purchase olive oil or host a tasting party. You'll have to find out what your state regulations are, whether they charge sales tax on services and sales, or just services. We'll work with sales tax in the next video. But let's add a sales item and a service item. The first thing we need to do is make sure inventory items and purchase orders are turned on if you plan on doing those things. If you do plan on creating purchase orders for your customers, you'll need this turned on. And also, if you track inventory, you'll have to do this too. Depending on how you set up your company using those default industries, QuickBooks could either have this option turned on or off already. Let's check by clicking Edit from the top menu and selecting Preferences. Change to the Items and Inventory tab on the left-hand side, and then click Company Preferences. Place a check mark next to Inventory and Purchase Orders are active, and then click the blue OK button. QuickBooks needs to close out of all of its windows and open them up again, so click OK. To open the windows again, click the arrow to expand the navigation pane and click Home. I'm going to maximize this and then collapse the navigation pane so that we can see a little bit more clearly. Now, let's start adding our items. In the Company area on the right, click Items and Services. Right now, we have nothing here, but this is where we can go through and start building our catalog of items and services. This is the list that QuickBooks is going to pull from when you start creating your invoices and sales receipts for your customers. So take the time now to go through and start adding all of your products. We've already added our tasting party account, but this is how we can track how much we made on that particular service. We still need to create the invoice line item for that service, and that's what we'll be doing when we add these items. To add an item, click Item on the bottom left-hand side of the screen and select New. You can also use the keyboard shortcut Control-N. We need to choose what type of item this is. In this case, it's a service. We can put in the item name or number, and in this case, for Two Trees Olive Oil, our fictional company, I have this item already made. In our description, I can put in what type of service it is. I can set the rate. In this case, it's $15 a person. And finally, I can choose the account. Here's where I'm going to select our tasting party account that we created in a previous video. I could click OK, but I'm going to click Next because I want to add another item. This time, instead of service, I'm going to click the drop-down and choose to add an inventory part. This is a physical product. You see that we get some extra fields that we can fill out. In the item name and number, I'm going to put in our special item name that we created. I could also select if it's a sub-item of a certain product. For example, I could categorize my olive oil from the different botanicals that it's made from. I could also put in a manufacturer's part number if I have one. In the description on sales transactions, I'm going to put in what the product actually is. In the sales price, I'll put what the product costs. In the income account, I'm going to change this from tasting party. This time, I'm going to choose my regular sales income account. I could also put in the cost of the item, what it costs me to purchase, and the preferred vendor that I get this from. We'll be going over vendors in a later video. But because I'm working with inventory, I need to include how many of these items I currently have on hand. This is not a necessary aspect of QuickBooks. I don't have to keep track of my inventory at all. In fact, up here in the type field, if I'm not doing that, I can repeat this process except make it a non-inventory part. All these fields down here will disappear. I'll click the blue OK button. And now I have two items created, a service item and an inventory part, and those are linked to accounts. I can also see how much they cost. Now you can go through and continue to add all of your items. When you're all done, click the X on the top right-hand side to get back to the home page.